we're live with some more Boros Energy. Trying to get a better idea what the best build is before the All Access Pass is done. This was the list that Top 8 did a challenge, I think yesterday or today. Very similar to ones that we've played already. The main difference is Thraben Charms being in the main deck. I mean, the rest of the deck, it's slight changes to the mana base. Third copy of a Plains, 2 Elegant Parlors, 2 Arenas, 2 Ragavans instead of 3, couple copies of the Good Boy Ophelia, to pair with, you know, your Seasoned Pyromancers, your Johnnies, your Guide of Souls, etc. to get a little bit more triggers. 3 copies of Bomba. Not sure if that's correct or it should be 2. Obviously the 4 Flage. And then Energy is slowly, as we've kind of expected, becoming the best deck in the format again. I don't think that's any surprise. Tomorrow is a super challenge, so we'll see what decks end up popping out of that. If the big events still start, you know, still seeing 7 or 8 different decks in the top 8, then maybe there's a hope that Modern will start to say, or will still stay fairly well balanced. But for right now, it's looking like Energy is slowly starting to creep towards becoming the best deck again. Sideboard, Chain of the Rocks, another hard removal spell, a couple copies of Worm's Chant for any type of combo decks, 2 copies of Containment Priest. This hits a bunch of things, but mainly a Reanimation or Phoenix, or anything, you know, with like Murktide stuff that's trying to reanimate things out of the graveyard. A couple copies of Surgical Extraction to hit specific cards in graveyards. 3 copies of Charmois against mainly the Eldrazi decks. Purifier Foes for the mirror match, as well as any other small creature deck like Affinity, Meltdown, and Wear Tears for anything artifact based. So, that said, I mean, unfortunately, Energy is Energy, so nothing terribly groundbreaking or revolutionary about it, but I found, unfortunately, when you try to play the revolutionary or slightly off-beaten decks in the current meta, well, not the current meta, but the previous meta, you just don't succeed much. So this one only has a 1-lander. We'll try it because we're on the draw, and we can always, you know, use the Surveil land to find another one. So Clifftop Retreat's interesting. Okay. Go ahead and pass. It's going to be like budget burn, budget energy perhaps. My money's going to be on burn with that style of an opener. Oh my. Alright, well. Looks like we're going to shock it up, shock it in. Let me begin. We're drawing the Bomba. La 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 Bomba. La 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 Bomba. This is the part I questioned about having 3 copies of Bombardier in our deck. Or Bombardment, I mean. So the problem against Bird is we could obviously play a Johnny here, go to block, try to flip it. Well, if our opponent has something like Searing Blaze, yeah, let's force them to have 2, or at least a removal spell for the cat token. So this might be incorrect. It's possible we're supposed to play out, or play, like say Static Prison, remove this, and then hold up Galvanic Discharge in case they have a 3rd creature. Souls isn't great, but it's also not terrible, I suppose. This is where the burn matchup gets, well, the matchup gets so rough for burn, not the burn matchup gets rough. Searing Blaze incoming. Sure. Okay, yep, they're definitely a budget burn. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Gotta start in the format somewhere. It does make me wonder what their other cards are. Because we're having Gigantha would certainly help. Mm-hmm. It's certainly a lot of damage. Okay, come on. There you go. Yes. Do you draw the lethal burn spell? You do not. Use the other Surveillian. Maybe we'll hit a... We should not have won this game. Chain to the Rocks is probably fine. Blood Moon isn't great. Problem is with a budget burn list, I'm not really sure what kind of cards they're going to be rocking. So, Blood Moon obviously not the best card against them. Meltdown, no. Fearfire Foes, I could see one coming in. Charma, bit of a pipe dream. Wear Tear, if we saw Vortex or Eidolon out of them. Containment Priest, possibility. Orm's Chance, possibility, especially if they have Searing Blaze, Surgical Extraction. So I think it comes down to these are the possibilities that I would want. Orm's Chant could stuff a lot of their sorcery speed stuff for a turn. Fearfire Foes could potentially kill one of their creatures. Don't think the sideboard's particularly well set up for burn, but then again, I don't know that energy needs a whole lot of help against burn normally. Alright, I mean, sure. Question is, which one of these do I lead with? Guess we lead with Pride because it needs to be in play by itself to do anything. I think whichever one we play is getting killed, so... Oh my. Awkward cliff top retreats for our opponent. We're just going to play the goodest of boys and pass the turn. Sure. That on the stack first. Goddess Souls comes back. The value train just runs the burn deck over, unfortunately. Unfortunately, Jan, for now, yeah. When the big sell-off happened, and the only reason I didn't buy into energy before is I fully expected after Nadu that energy was going to take over and get banned. And I really didn't want to dump a bunch of money into a deck or tickets or whatever you want to call it into a deck that I knew was going to get banned. The One Ring was days were numbered, and something out of energy was inevitably getting banned. Now, there's still a very real possibility that in 2.5 months down the line that something out of this deck gets banned again, because I think the results are starting to trend more and more towards, in some ways, the exact same meta we just got done dealing with, and that is Boros Energy versus unfair decks dot format. Whether that's, Storm, Belcher, any type of reanimation decks. The only hope I have about the current format and quasi-investing in energy is, my hope is that Creativity and Green Sun Zenith Omnath provide enough of a balance on the other side of the equation that energy doesn't become 25-30% of the format again and something else if it gets banned. But wouldn't be the first modern deck I've had to get something banned out of it, so I had Izzet Phoenix when Faithless Looting got banned. I had okay, yeah, we're keeping this one. Turn 2 Blood Moon. Hopefully that's good enough against whatever we're playing against. And then I had Mycosynthelatus when Tron. It got banned out of Tron. In paper. Now, obviously, Burns never had anything banned out of it, but... Although, I can't say that. A version of Burn did get Wild Nacatl banned, briefly. Well, for several years, actually. Okay. Am I getting Thought Seized, or are we getting Fatal Pushed? Delighted Halfling. We'll see if the Yawgmoth deck blocks. So the reanimation suite is weaker, number 1. And number 2, the creatures aren't as impactful. So my opponent clearly is repping Bowmaster here. But they're going to get us regardless with Bowmaster, so... Hopefully they fetch another dual land and we can get them with Blood Moon. Nope, not exactly. Okay, can they play anything else here? Worst case scenario would be Wall of Roots. Yeah, like Halfling we can... Oh. Never mind, they just had the main deck answer. Yep, opponent's going to have Grist here. So we're just going to get outvalued this game. Deciding if they just want to pop the Season Pyro, if they just want to go face. Interesting choice. So we could play out like one Guide of Souls here, but the problem with that is the Grist just gets to eat it basically for free. I don't think we're winning this game, but we need a Flage pretty quickly to have a prayer. But the fact that they were smart enough to fetch this basic forest and got the delayed halfling online. Fearfire Foes seems like a reasonable card against them. Containment Priest and Chain of the Rocks. So you figure that we have these 5, and we might bring in So we're taking 5. I think with this setup we'll just pass. Problem is Court of Calling's online now, so opponent's made some questionable choices this game. I think none of this matters now because I think we're gonna get or get Yawgmoth, but because I suspect that's been one of the cards locked in their hand. GSC for 3. Grist. I don't think that was the best use of that card, but sure. Bomba. Another Scoos? Yeah, sure. So we can deal 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Opponent would have to fetch shock somehow for us to win here. Doesn't seem likely, but let's at least force them to figure out the math. Alright, moving on. So, Fear Fire Foes comes in. Chain to the Rocks comes in. Containment Reek Priest, I think, comes in. Wear Terror is a possibility. Charmaw, all these surgical extractions, a bit dubious, but could be a consideration. So we could bring these in. Obviously, Ragavan doesn't do much in this matchup, I don't think. Maybe on the play there's an argument to keep it in. This third bomb has just got to get out of here. I don't think it's good. It's possible these surgical extractions are just not good enough. And then we got to get one more card out of here. Can't keep the Outlander. I think we'll keep this one, put back Flage for now. Basic plans. Johnny, go. Static precedent specifically says non-land. This is a land creature. Okay. See, if you have a fatal push, it's a little late to the party for that. Excuse me? Alright, let's just move on. We clearly got blown out more by an opponent who wanted that more. But since when does Yawgmoth play Urza Saga? Keep. We'll go Ragavan into potentially Guide of Souls plus a Johnny. Monkey, a human, and a cat walk into a deck. What deck am I? Energy, apparently. So we dumpstered Budget Burn and had a close game one against Yawgmoth, and then game two got Culling Ritualed. So more power to our opponent, I suppose. Lead on Sacred Foundry, Ragavan into God of Souls plus a Johnny. If for some reason they don't have interaction on turn one, which in Modern is debatable how often that could happen, but shocker. Cernblaze? Searing Blaze. Yep, right on. Keep that and just go absolutely bonkers this turn. Okay, take a bunch of damage, I don't like it. Honestly, I'm still not going to touch Prowess for a little while, Marvin. There's been a few lists that have done okay recently. What I would go and look at is the mono red Phoenix lists. I would go and look at those. Those might have the most current competitive legs. I really haven't looked at the Prowess list lately because I don't think the changes that were made to Modern really helped either Burn or Prowess all that much. Because I still think the format's going to settle into energy versus combo. As I said at the beginning of the thing, I think the only prayer for the Modern format is that a legitimate mid-range deck emerges. Whether that be if I were my Burn opponent, I would so block this cat token. But I'll answer your question here in a minute once or a little bit more in depth in a minute whenever we go to the sideboarding, which we'll be headed to very, very shortly. Modern. Murktide, Hardened Skills, Boros Burn, Mono Red Burn. So honestly, I'd look at something like this for the meantime. So what this version gives you is a little bit of resiliency with Phoenix while still having the busted mono red openings. And then you still get to play things like Blood Moon, Brotherhood's End. And I don't think this is a terrible place to look for right now, because I'm suspecting. Yeah, you've got that. You've got Gruul Phoenix. And I'm suspecting you're not seeing a whole lot of other like finishes by Prowess, because Prowess isn't in a very good place right now. But yeah, I would look at the Mono Red Phoenix lists. The main thing you would have to add is copies of Faithless Looting and copies of Arclight Phoenix, which I don't know if you play in paper or online. Phoenix is a bit pricey right now. It'll come down a little bit. But I would look at something like this as a shell to start with for right now. Anyways, Burn. I don't think we honestly sideboard that much against Burn. We basically boarded the Blood Moons out. We boarded the Chain to the Rocks in. And it's like a grab bag of D1 Containment Priest, Fear Fire Foes, Orm's Chance. Yeah, I think I boarded like this the last time. Like this matchup is so unbelievably bad for Burn. It's almost a joke. But yeah, I kind of switch gears now. I mean, I tried the Prowess Burn Storm thing, and I've just decided that I hate to do it, but I'm going back to playing, at least on the main channel, at least the top tier deck. I mean, we did it for a while with Black Red Scam. I will get back eventually to Prowess. I haven't like completely abandoned the Prowess shell or anything, but I think this hand is just too slow. This hand's pretty anemic, but okay against Burn specifically. Back one of the fetch lands. Alright, well, if they're not aiming the Drift Bolt at our face, then they could just have like Rift Bolt here and then Searing Blaze, and it's possible we were just supposed to hold up a interactive piece. Okay, or they can do that. Either which way, we got a card out of their hand, and okay, well, don't like taking the damage here, and maybe I shouldn't be, but play that, play this. Well, I think that's probably your best route, is to go with Mono Red Phoenix for right now. And then toy with, you know, the other builds of Prowess as you have time. And this is why this matchup is so incredibly difficult for Burn. I'm just going to leave it back. There's no reason to attack with a 1/1 cat right now. There's what, 6 other ones or 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Game is basically over at this point. Like, I wish this game was interesting, but Flage is just GG. In addition to the 2 life we already gained from God of Souls. Yeah, basically just pick up your lootings, pick up your phoenixes, and if you need to pick up Manamorphoses, pick up Manamorphoses. Honestly, yeah, that'd be your best bet for a paper deck right now, if you're waiting for the meta to kind of shake out a little bit. Another Lutz. Yep. Sure. We're the control deck in this matchup, so. Arena of Glory? To really make this embarrassing? Actually, we couldn't cast it with Arena of Glory right now. We already know Stack Prisons on top of our deck, so. Literally fetch basic planes. Yeah. So opponent would need like land, Searing Blaze in Exile, another burn spell, potentially second Searing Blaze, and they have neither. Yeah, the mono red prowess decks used to be, when Faithless Looting was a thing, the mono red prowess decks were almost a mid-range deck because they used to run Soulscar, Swift Spear, Bedlam Reveler, and sometimes Phoenix. I wouldn't recommend Bedlam Reveler because I think the card's just too slow for Modern, but alright, the sand has potential. That said, if this Ragavan dies or gets chumped or traded with, then we basically do nothing this turn. Springleaf Drum, sure. I don't even know what Springleaf Drum Bogger, whatever the heck means. No, it's absolutely not playable. But I'm saying it used to be in the it used to be in the old mono red prowess lists. I have no idea how dependent. This Boggart Bog really messes with me a little bit. whale. I have no idea what's going on over there. Is this some type of weird Undercity Informer affinity deck that I'm not aware of? Okay, they're going to mill themselves. Mm-hmm. So I'm not seeing a Memory's Journey in here. All right. Very much. So that's one of the advantages of having played so many random decks in Modern over the years, Because even when it's a weird opening, it's like, oh, that looks like oops all spells. And then it's like, oh, they milled themselves. Oops all spells. So their sideboard juke could easily be Belcher. What does this hand do? Do I keep this hand or do I mulligan towards a little bit of hate? I think I mulligan towards hate, as good of an opening hand as this is. This hand's good enough for our purposes. Probably put back Discharge, maybe? Mm-hmm. Pentad Prism? Sure. Mm-hmm. It's always been... So, the modern meta has been more shifted towards Mardu the last couple of weeks. But this is... Like, this is my concern with the modern format. Like, if you look at the last week, Mardu Energy and Boros Energy are already 16% of the meta. If you look at the Modern Challenge yesterday, 6 Boros Energy, 6 Dimir, and then a smattering of other decks. Now, granted, the top 8 had 2 Boros Energies, but 1 right outside of it. And then, look at the Modern Challenge the other day. There were 5 Mardu Energy, 1 Boros Energy, 1 Boros mid-range, which is probably, yeah. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Souls go. Okay. Basic island. Problem with basic island is you have no idea what you're playing against. I guess the only positive thing is we have the good boy here and we can just, you know, let them do whatever they're going to do. Which turns out to be nothing. Probably held up Spell Snarr there. Spell Snarr. Yep, the newest counterspell craze. Spell Snarr. Snarr. Double basic island. Okay. Yep. I jokingly say this, but are we up against Mono Blue Mill? I legitimately have no idea. I should have smelled the fish. The fish. That's kind of annoying. I walked face first into the fish. Okay. So you get to block here for a free block. Sure. Come on, deck, give me something here. Sure. Okay, well, apparently my opponent did not appreciate playing against Energy. Don't know what else to say about that. Yeah. I mean, Energy's a good deck. I don't really know what else to say. Second or third Bomba, I'm not sure on that. Third Monkey is a possibility. The rest of the list's main deck isn't a whole lot different than what we've played last league. Other than it had the Thalias and had the Bolts. You know, a lot of it is just which one of the tertiary cards do you have? Do you want to run Thalia in your list? Do you want to run Fable the Mirror Breaker in your list? Do you want to run Thraben Charm? Do you want to run Bolts? You know, what sideboard configuration do you want to run for, you know, the artifact decks, the graveyard decks, the random nonsensical stuff. So, I mean, that's the thing I want to learn in the next couple months, and hoping the deck doesn't get banned. But in the meantime, if the deck does get banned again, hopefully racking up some tickets and being prepared to buy another deck. Yeah. I mean, this is my second 4-1 with the deck, so that's more 4-1s than I had the entirety of the previous 6 months, for reference, sadly. I think I had a couple of 3-2s with Prowess and one. I had like one 4-1 with Storm, maybe a 3-2 with Burn, and a bunch of 2-3s and 1-4s and nonsense like that. So I know people really want me to play the red aggro stuff, but it's like those decks just aren't good. Burn's a little bit better, especially with creativity and those kind of decks remain relevant. Obviously, it's terrible against Energy. We kind of dumpstered on it twice this league. Granted, I think both were budget variants of Burn, so kind of hard to say a lot about that, because we played against Mono Red, and then we played against budget Boros, and then we beat some variant of Whoops All Spells and a frustrated Fish player, and then lost to a close-ish game 1 against Yogg, and then Culling of the Week just absolutely annihilating us game 2. So, props to our Yogg opponent. Sorry to our other opponents. I kind of feel their frustration a little bit with playing against Energy, but Wizards didn't want it banned completely out of existence, so I'm not going to jokingly turn this into a let's get Boros Energy banned, because I actually kind of enjoy the deck, but I also understand how people can get incredibly annoyed playing against it, so, and I haven't played it for, you know, when did Modern Horizons 3 come out? It's been, what, 6 months? MH3 release date. Yeah, it's been since June, so it's been out for 7 months. And so. But anyways, if you do like modern content, especially of the Boros Energy variety currently, please feel free to like and subscribe. If you like Prowess content, take a look at our Prowess library content. Needs updated a little bit with the new decks, but don't really know there's a whole lot to learn with Prowess right now. And if you like Burn content, check out MTG Nexus Red. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hope to see you for our next video.